Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for joining us again. Today, we're covering episode 4 of House of the Dragons. This is the shocking death of RHAENYS, and the conscience of Queen Rhaenyra may be lost as well. This war will not be won with dragons alone, but with the dragons flying behind armies of men. All right, so let's get into this episode as we dive deep into the House of Dragon. I'm joined today by Jeff, TrueKnowledge from the Bleeding Edge podcast, Andres, the pop culture guy, and Dom from the Movie Nerd podcast. Hello, everyone.
What's up?
Hey, what's going on, Jermaine? And it's Talking TV podcast.
There we go, Jeff. There we go.
Talking TV podcast.
Okay. I'm glad I wasn't that asshole that had to correct him. I'm like, I'm trying to avoid that. I've been trying to avoid that moniker my whole life.
Andres?
Nope, I'm pretty good. I'm excited about this episode. Happy to be with you guys again.
All right, good. All right. So before we get started, let's recap the previous episode. In the previous episode, Daemon has been dispatched to Harrenhal, but he has not yet proven successful. Old rivalries have ignited in the names of those they follow. Sir Gawain Hightower, a name that Dom hates, has been given to Sir Criston Cole as he battles to win over territory for Aegon. Aegon makes Larys the Master of Whispers after he consoles him on what the small folk are saying about him. Aegon embarrasses his brother for continuously lying with a woman with whom he lost his virginity. Rhaenyra risks her life to meet with the Dowager Queen Alicent to see if war can be averted, and they both learn that, in fact, it was his wish to make Rhaenyra his heir. All right, so besides the final scene, gentlemen, what were your favorite moments in this episode? Let's start with Jeff.
Favorite moments, probably Aegon going into the whorehouse and embarrassing Daemon. Or Aemon, because I think that's really like, well, that was the final spark for Aemon. He's kind of like, fuck it at that point, like, you might as well burn now, motherfucker. Like after that point,
I meant today's episode.
Today's episode. Oh,
yeah.
My bad. Well, obviously the battle. I mean, I think that the reason why I was a little bit down in episode 3 is because I've been reviewing the House of the Dragon since the first season, with no real fighting and no real bloodshed and no real battles at all. Like, like I've been waiting this whole time reviewing the series. It feels like forever. And I'm finally ready for some war. I'm finally ready for like the Dance of the Dragons. And so the most powerful scenes I thought were the ones at Harrenhal with Daemon. I think he's definitely going to bang the witch in episode 5. He's going to do it. It's Daemon. He has to. You know what I'm saying? Like he can't help himself. She obviously isn't going to stop him. I'd say probably the best shot of the entire episode was seeing Aemon fly his dragon across the battlefield, right, when he came into the battle there at the end. And seeing the size of his fucking dragon, how enormous it was, like how much it took up the whole shot, right? Like from end to end, the whole shot was the dragon. So that was really dope. Criston Cole being a badass, beheading motherfuckers and shit and whatnot.
We don't want you to recap the whole episode. So let's go to Dom. Besides the final scene, what were your favorite moments of the episode?
Oh man, it's gonna be really tough for me to not recap the whole episode here. But since we all know that Rook's Rest is kind of the centerpiece of this episode, I'll save that for the end. I will say a very underrated moment for me was the scene in the council room with specifically between Aegon and Aemon, where Aemon kind of gets his clapback early on by speaking in High Valyrian, knowing full well that Aegon did not pay attention at all in the lessons when they were kids and is terrible at speaking it. He can't even speak a full sentence properly. I just thought that moment was great because it was a great way for Aemon to show up Aegon without actually embarrassing him in front of the counselors. So I thought that moment was just so underrated. Another moment before we get to kind of the main parts of the episode was RHAENYS and kind of her little moment with her dragon Maelys before they flew off, before they even left Dragonstone. That last like off to battle again, old girl. I just thought that was beautiful. And it's, I'm going to get to that when we talk about Rook's Rest, as far as that being like the reason why that moment felt so much more impactful than just, ooh, dragons fighting.
Gotcha. Andres, favorite, excuse me, besides the final scene, what was your favorite moment of the episode?
Sure. Well, Dom just brought up the little moment of RHAENYS and Melis Dragon having that little moment there. I really like that. But also, they did the same thing with Aegon, his dragon. Like his dragon did like that little dog kind of like push on him, and I really. Yeah, and I really dug that, because those two, I did not expect those two like going down in the episode, and I really appreciate. I never expected that. Like oh my god, something's gonna happen with these two, and it did. But my favorite moment was seeing again, which I was shocked that we're going to see young Renea, played by Millie Alcott again, and Damien's vision. That for me was really great. Just again. Damien seeing
she lights up the screen, doesn't she?
Yeah, and she was wearing the crown from her father, and that was like, and she was speaking the
High Valyrian.
Hyrillian, right? And the fact that she chopped the head was like, whoa, and then she kind of made a little face, and I was like, wow, that was creepy. So that was my personal favorite for this episode.
All right, so let's get into it. Damon in a dream comes face to face with the woman he loves and with whom's position he covets. In the beginning of the episode, Damon is in the Red Keep in the King's Chamber and sees young Rhaenyra, and she confronts him of his desires for her throne. He slays her. When he wakes, he learns Sir Criston Cole's army is winning and on its way to Harrenhal. He wants to meet with Lord Grovey Tully. Instead, his grandson is meeting with him instead. Not eager to make decisions while his grandfather is still alive, Damon suggests he should hasten his death. Damon wants to meet with the Blackwoods to meet Cole's army. At Driftmark, Rhaenys meets Corlys's savior and learns it is one of his bastard sons. When confronting Corlys about this fact, she tells him she knows who he is and that his birth is of no fault to him, and since he has saved his lord's life, he should be raised up in honor. Important note right there. She tells Corlys that Baela has called her back to Dragonstone because she needs help with the council. When Corlys asks where Rhaenyra has gone, she tells him she's likely gone to drag us back from the abyss. Back at the Red Keep, Alicent has received the Grand Maester, who gives her a tincture to abort her pregnancy, playing it off as another woman's. She further asks him if Viserys wanted Aegon to succeed him. Sensing the repercussions in the question, he answers by saying the matter was never raised with him. Gentlemen, what are your thoughts about this part of the episode? Let's start with Dom.
Wow. Okay. I mean, a lot to cover just in those couple scenes alone. First of all, Daemon and Harrenhal. I love everything that's going on here. It's great because it's the only way that Daemon can actually be forced to confront his actions is by literally confronting them, confronting the source of them, confronting kind of what they've wrought. And he was never going to do this with any other character telling him about it. I mean, Rhaenyra literally confronted him with all of his faults in episode 2 before he left for Harrenhal, and he immediately just dismissed them and just turned everything back on her. But now he's being forced to actually confront the source of his actions. And I think that it's kind of important because a lot of Daemon's part in the story in the book section of this is just like, oh, he's at Harrenhal, then he leaves, then he comes back, and he's kind of just there. So the fact that they're adding all of this extra context in order to really strengthen his character's journey, I think is awesome. And then as far as everything that happens on Driftmark and then going into King's Landing, first of all, on Driftmark, that's great, that moment. It's awesome because it once again kind of signifies, first of all, the way that Alan greets Rhaenys. When he's like, what is he? He's like, my lady or something. And she's like, princess. She checks him, but also is once again, still humble. It's kind of awesome how she's able to pull that off. Eve Best really, really deserves a lot of props here for this performance as well. As far as the beginning towards the end. And obviously we know how this goes with Adam and with Alan and his brother Adam, eventually being raised to become a full official Valerians. What's it called? In order to carry on the title, since as of right now, Corlys technically has no heir since Lucerys is now dead. And then as far as everything that happens in King's Landing, with Allison and the Grand Maester, I mean, that was just some extra dialogue that was added to ultimately fulfill the scene, which is that, oh, Allison might be pregnant with Kristen Cole's child, so now she has to take this poison in order to, like, abort the kid, essentially, is literally what we're watching here. And like, that exchange to me was just like, oh, that was whatever. It's like the Grand Maester is once again just proving that he's a gutless coward by saying, oh, I didn't know it was never raised with me. It's like, okay, dude, whatever. Go leave. Continue to be useless, please.
I mean, I probably would have done the same thing. Like, you're not getting me involved.
No. Listen. I'm not saying that that I don't understand his choice of words. I'm just saying that as a scene itself, in order to establish what it established, I'm like, did this really need any dialogue? It really didn't, ultimately. Like, Allison knows she fucked up. She knows that of all the people that would lie to her, Rhaenyra is not one of them. So she knows that in her heart of hearts, she screwed up. And this scene, in order to, like, show her now physically suffering from her actions, it was justified in a certain sense.
Andres, your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with Dom about the Damien Harriddle scenes. That's been very engaging so far for me. And I mean, as I brought up with my favorite moment, it was great to see see the young Rhaenyra again, and seeing how he is very conflicted on his alliance to Rhaenyra right now, because of he's so desperate to like get this war going and like kill the Greens, and at the same time he has to follow his duties as the commander with Rhaenyra. She's the princess, right? And so I'm very intrigued about that. And of course, Allison doing the tea thing, like I was kind of surprised that they did that, but not too surprised, and yeah, I don't know why the Maestra kind of word that was kind of weird, but I mean, he wasn't subtle about that. I think, I don't know, like, I mean, maybe he's gonna blackmail Allison, maybe, I don't know, like, because how these people are in their agendas, so you don't know he's playing his cards, the fact he would know something. Plus, we don't know he, because Strawn is in the council now, and so I don't know if he's a friend of Strawn, but we'll see, So I'm very curious what's gonna happen with the Allison princessy thing, but we'll see. And and I was kind of surprised that Reyes knew about the bastard son for Cole, and I was very happy they did that.
Yeah.
To
I mean, it wasn't exactly difficult to figure out. I'll say that.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I was kind of surprised they. I mean, last season, where were they? But I mean, we're just getting introduced to these two characters, so I'm like, okay,
Although she said your mother must have been a beautiful woman, I don't see it. I don't see it.
That's mean. That's mean. I mean,
maybe Jeff, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm not seeing it either. So David and Harrenhal, I dig that shit too, because I like the whole haunted magical aspect of it. The fact that they cut down like a whole forest of weirwoods, right? And built the castle right on top of it.
The weirwood roots literally grow into the
now they're growing into the structure of the castle and shit like that and whatnot. Like, of course there's going to be magic there and whatnot and all that, right? Like, it's that the people of the earth, magic or whatever the fuck they're called from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, Dom? The Children of the Forest magic and shit and whatnot. Them motherfuckers.
That's exactly it.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Corliss to come in strong at some point during the series and like have an impact. You know what I'm saying? In
He's
some
been
way,
very much on the back burner so far. Yeah,
so it's good to see him in the episode, right? And anytime he's on the screen with him and RHAENYS, it's always good. Like they're always good together. You know what I'm saying? Like they have good chemistry together on screen. Eve Best is really good. She really kills it in that character. We're gonna miss her on the show. And then as far as Allison with the abortion, this cocktail, that's actually what they call it on here. They call it on the Wikipedia. They call it let's see. prepares Allison an abortionist tea, an abortionist tea, or some shit. So there you go. That's all I got, sir.
All right, good. So let's move on to the next scene, or the next couple of scenes. At Dragonstone, Baylor describes Cole's position to a weary council that wants war. They understand Daemon will have difficulty at controlling the Vale, and with no news from Daemon, Rhaenyra's disappearance causes a strain with the men at court. Sir Alfred suggests they could meet their men in battle if there were a leader amongst them. Jace tells him to mind his tongue. Sir Alfred says the council is rudderless. Rhaenys says she is doing her best to steer it since she is not the hand. He says they should only answer to her and the king consort. Carlos walks in and asks what has come of this council. He puts them in their place by telling them they are clawing for power. Rhaenys suggests Rhaenyra is seeking an end to this conflict. After defeating House Darkland, Cole decides to go northeast after beheading Lord Darkland. Aegon is upset with Harrenhal, upset that Harrenhal has been captured. Larys reminds them that he still controls all of his gold. Aemon says Cole is going to Rook's Rest, to which the king and council are all surprised by Aemon's subterfuge. Aegon says he wants Harrenhal back. Aemon says Cole is already preparing his men to advance on Rook's Rest. Aegon surmised he and Cole have been plotting behind his back. Aemon responds in High Valyrian, and Aegon, though he can understand Aemon, is barely able to respond, effectively making Aegon a king in name only. Larys visits Alicent, inquiring about her absence from the small council. Larys sees the tincture and basically tells her he knows of her abortion and that it was for Cole. In an effort to misdirect, she reminds Larys that she has had more than one tragedy befall her in the past few weeks. In the matter of Viserys' successor, Larys hinted that he also knew Aegon was not who he had chosen. Alicent's response was clear. War is upon us, no matter the situation. Back at Harrenhal, Daemon sees a one-eyed version of himself, which led him to Alice Rivers, the maester of Harrenhal, who is centuries old. She knows he has issues with his sleeping. She also knows he has had issues with his wife, the one who has replaced him as heir. She gives him a potion, which he takes, and the next thing he remembers is a meeting with Sir William Blackwood, who recalls his affection for Rhaenyra, but Daemon has a vision of Laena. I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to start with Andres. Andres, what are your thoughts about what we've seen thus far?
Well, the black team's bickering is really exciting because, like, I knew that this is going to be trouble if you don't take action against the Team Green, and you're seeing that right now, seeing the everyone in the council arguing to like start rallying some army or kill them on the spot, and that's not what Rhaenyra wants right now, because she's trying to keep everything statistically right and not use the dragons because the dragons will cause cut out the damage. And it's really cool when they start to, like, it's very funny when we get someone that is powerful like Cole. He shuts up everyone, and I love that because, like, it just shows how he's very much in control in that scene. And it was great to see when Cole is like, "What's going on here? We're supposed to be Rhaenyra's side. Like, we're losing sight here, and we're struggling with the power of this." And so it's really great. And again, he's supporting his wife too, because his wife is holding the fort. And when he comes in there, he goes beside his wife, which is really great. And I was not surprised about Aemon going on his brother's back because what happened with last episode, because Aegon was so drunk he like humiliate Aemon in that the brothel, whatever, and of course, getting back to it, he just like made this like plan with Cole to like we don't know yet, but like this like attack on this like little castle that is not important. Like for Aegon, he wants to go and attack where Daemon is at Harrenhal, but of course that's not what's going on, and so that really hurts. And that was the scene that was really great because it just show how Aemon is really trained. He's very like head smart and look at Aegon, like, as I brought up before, he had, Aegon didn't have the training as a king like Rhaenyra or even Aemon had probably a lot of training when he was growing up. So I really enjoyed this sequence. It just shows like the conflict between both families right now. It's like they're trying to I say trying to defeat each other, but like they're losing some support from their supporters and inside the castles.
Okay, Jeff.
Yeah, that's a big swath of the episode. I like the scene with Clubfoot and Allison Hightower. It was a good scene. He's you don't know. For all we know, he may very well already know that was Rhaenyra that like popped up at the end of episode 4. His own spies could have like been watching Allison. You know what I'm saying? Like, who knows? Or like people that he could have in the Septa or something like that. You never know. So I thought that was interesting. Old Clubfoot. I thought maybe he was gonna like ask her to pull one of her feet out or some shit so he could touch her feet or some shit maybe during the scene, but that didn't happen.
I was hoping for it, Jeff. I was hoping for it.
The War Council meeting was with Aegon was really sick. Like the way fucking Aemon shut him down was like no joke. How that's like beneficial to have a lame duck king does not benefit the throne, the throne, you know what I'm saying, the kingdom. Besides that, watching the green, watching the Rhaenyra's, I get confused. The blacks, seeing the blacks and having their council, right, and without their runner, without Rhaenyra there, right, and having RHAENYS having to kind of like almost run the show, in Rhaenyra's spot. You could see it like how rudderless they really are without like their leader. So, obviously you're hoping that Rhaenyra is going to come back so that they can actually decide what they want to do and come up with like a proper strategy to address the situation.
Get shit started.
But that's pretty much it. Besides just that, what I liked how when Daemon drank the drink from the witch chick, all he remembered was literally taking a sip of it and going right from that sip to drinking another drink. God bless you. To drinking another drink, like while talking in mid conversation. It went right from that drink to his another drink, and him swallowing. It was crazy.
Dom?
Wow. Okay. There's a lot to cover here. So I'm basically going to cover it in the SWATs of this is the meeting of the councils, essentially. You've got 3 separate council meetings happening, all between very important characters, all about very important things at King's Landing, Harrenhal, and Dragonstone, respectively. First off, I just want to point out that this is the second time that Rhaenyra has missed an important council meeting, and it has resulted in a lot of things happening that are not in her control. This is kind of starting to become a little bit of a problem. The first time it's like, okay, she was grieving. I get it. This time it's like, okay, we get it. She was out trying to make peace, but like she's missing some crucial stuff that's happening here. And so, of course, this results in a lot of scatterbrain, a lot of accusations, a lot of stuff where it's like, okay, we need to take action. Corlys shows up, shows him who's boss and everything. But it shows that, again, things are starting to deteriorate. King's Landing. Oh, man. I absolutely just am in love with everything that's happening here. These council meetings are just getting more and more wild and out of control between Tylan chewing out the Grand Maester last episode, which was also very entertaining because Tylan's been strangely competent from what I've heard as Master of Coin. You've just got like the comeback of all comebacks when Aemon absolutely humiliates Aegon without even trying. Like, without even trying. It's like Aegon is just realizing the futility of his position. Finally. It's taken him this long. Right, 4 episodes in. That's not bad. That's pretty good, honestly. It would have taken somebody like Joffrey even longer if he even realized it. Like,
he never did.
Aegon is realizing the futility of his situation. And in a way, I will say this, it makes him even more sympathetic than he already was. And I'll explain why. Because Aegon is a character that has never had any agency in his life. As annoying and as childish and as much of a bully as he was to Aemon, he still is a character that has had absolutely zero agency in his life and still doesn't now, unfortunately. It's actually kind of sad when you think about it. So that's why, in a way, what he does later on in this episode is kind of understandable from a character standpoint, and kind of in a way, finally, it's like him doing something, even if, once again, of course, literally results in it blowing up on his face. But Aemon, like I said, gets the smack back, being like, yeah, I am more competent than you in every single way. I speak better Valyrian than you. My dragon is bigger than yours. I'm a way better fighter than you. You know, I'm a way better strategy commander. I'm a better leader than you. There's even a rumor that he's the father of Helena's children, which honestly, I wouldn't totally not believe that, you know? So since Aemon is quite literally proving himself as better than Aegon in every single way, of course he's plotting with Kristen Cole behind Aegon's back. And he's just realizing this now. And of course he doesn't see the strategy because, of course, Kristen Cole and Aemon have come up with this strategy exclusively for the purpose of what it accomplishes in this episode. You know, and of course Aemon almost screws that up too, unfortunately. As far as Harrenhal goes, and once again, Daemon just being entranced by the witchery. You know, Daemon is slowly becoming the Stannis Baratheon of this series. You know, he started this as, you know, the original Viserys Targaryen, if he were actually like a character and not just like a one-off joke. Now he's becoming Stannis Baratheon in the sense of where he is kind of the character that tries his best for his hand, fails, and then finally just gives into his fate. Ultimately, is the role that Daemon is going towards. And I just wanted to make a statement on the Tullys too, who he briefly meets with and suggests that, you know, the one should have killed his grandfather in order to ascend the throne. I love that they included Martin's original names, which was a dig at Sesame Street: Elmo, Grover, and Oscar Tully. I absolutely love that that's a thing in this. That's hilarious. As far as his conversation with Alice Rivers, do not be so confident in the fact that they will get together, Jeff. That's all I'm going to say. She does get together with the Targaryen, just not the Targaryen that you believe. As far as Cole at Duskendale executing Lord Darklyn, that's just once again a demonstration that it's like, yeah, we're not fucking around. You know, we got a campaign to do. Ultimately, it's like it's war. It's war.
It's Aemon, right? That's who she fucks. That's who she fucks.
Yeah, it's Aemon.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, it's Aemon. And then as far as Larys and Alicent, that's another scene where I just love that it's like that's Alicent's basic confirmation that it's like, yeah, it's time to go to war. Unfortunately, all of Viserys' intentions have completely died with him. We screwed that up. It's entirely my fault, and now like there's no going back, unfortunately. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on that succession of sequences.
Great. Thank you, gentlemen. All right. So let's move on for a second. So Boar Aegon hears his council recounting information he has heard over and over again. He leaves the council and they continue talking as if unperturbed. He goes to his room to find his mother looking for his father's books. He complains the council doesn't care what he thinks. Alicent asks what thoughts he has. She also counsels that by simply wearing the crown, it does not bestow him with wisdom. His counselors have earned their seats. She'd hoped he'd be silent to learn from the more studied minds around him, to be half the king as his father. She reminds him that she and his grandfather ruled with while Viserys was dying. He asked what would she have had him do, and her reply was for him to do nothing. Near Rook's Rest, Cole's men are resting, and he orders his men to attack during the day. Rhaenyra returns to Dragonstone. She is met with hostility from her son. Her counselors update her. Jace asked where she had been. She says she needed to know there was no other path. She now knows she must either win her claim or die. Jace wants to send a dragon. She says there are those who mistake her caution for weakness. RHAENYS volunteers since she has the largest dragon of their forces. Rhaenyra meets with Jace, who wants to fight. She tells him about the Song of Ice and Fire. Their duty is to unite the kingdom against a common enemy. Viserys believed that only Rhaenyra could protect the realm. The horrors of loosing the dragons cannot be for a crown alone. All right, so gentlemen, I believe this goes to Jeff first. What are your thoughts about that particular part of the episode?
Aegon is such a little bitch as a king that he's really pathetic, like groveling to his mother almost, like, what do I do or whatever, you know? Like, for one thing, stop drinking so much. You know, like, the drinking's not helping you, right? Like, you're drinking constantly. You know, like, obviously you're not going to be making your better decisions if you're just drinking constantly all the time. That's not helping you. But I like seeing Allison straighten him out. You know, it was nice to see. It was about time somebody straightened him out. You know, so it was nice to see Allison, you know, do that shit, because he really is spineless. He's a little spineless worm type motherfucker. He really is. You know,
he wasn't spineless when he hung those rat catchers. I'm just saying.
Rhaenyra's return,
kind of a spineless move.
Rhaenyra's return. It was a strong, as usual. You know, Emma Darcy's always really good as Rhaenyra on screen. It was a really good set of scenes. Her explaining the Song of Ice, the Ice and Fire, you know, stuff or whatever to Jace was cool. Them deciding who was going to go out to, you know, as a dragon representative, right? That was pretty deep. Like their council meeting. The council meetings were pretty intense in this episode. So that's pretty much it.
Dom?
Yeah, some intense scenes here. Definitely. As far as Rhaenyra's return, yeah, I kind of in a way love how of all the characters that like talk back to her, it's Jacaerys, because he's kind of the only one that can and like get away with it ultimately. And obviously she tells him where she's been, and then ultimately it's like, okay, it's time for action. And she's like, okay, I'm not going to volunteer anyone else. I need to go. And Jace is like, you're the most important player. We can't send you out there. So, of course, RHAENYS volunteers. And, of course, that leads to that very tearful scene that we talked about before, kind of the setup for her demise when she hugs Maelys and it's like, off to battle once more, old girl. I love that. I love that. Eve Best, oh, she better win the fucking Emmy next year. She better. We're not getting a performance that's topping that. We're not. I'm telling you right now. We're not.
I think it's her eyes. There's something about her eyes are so soulful, and it's almost like you want to cry with her, even though like those are just her eyes.
There's a silent determination that's kind of fueling her. That's what's so impactful about it. She just like so much about acting is literally just about like the eyes. You could like see the emotion in their eyes, and that was just I just loved everything that was going on there. And then, oh man, what else is in this section? Getting ready for the battle at Rook's Rest. That's the big one. Aegon complaining to Alicent. Oh man, just this is in a weird way. This is the scene of the episode, because this is ultimately completes like kind of Aegon's trifecta of humiliation. You know, first with what's it called? You know, first with Aemon, now it's with Alicent, then later on in the battle. That's the trifecta. So this is the peak of it, where Alicent basically tells him, look, you're kind of completely useless. All of your actions have brought us here. And yeah, you've done nothing but talk back to elders who have tried to help you and guide you in the right direction. You've gone completely against their advice. And now you fired Otto as the hand, and you're engaging in willful acts. It would be best if you kind of just sat back and let everyone work it for you. And also, you're kind of a disappointment. And Viserys didn't want you as king. In so many words. That's basically what she says. It's like, Aegon is just like, fuck, I may as well just get on my dragon at this point, because what the hell else do I have left, you know? I've literally just been told by my mother of all people that I'm a shit king and that I wasn't the right choice. After she originally lied, which means she was lying to me in the first place by saying that it was the choice, that I was the choice for king. It's so sad, ultimately. It's sad, honestly, in context.
Yeah. Andres, your thoughts?
Yeah. Oh man, Alicent has to be the worst mother ever for the year. Like the fact that she say that. I mean, first off, the Team Green. I do feel sorry for them, but they're very flawed people, and they're like so like egotistical like people. You know, like up their ass so many times because of their greed and power and all that, and it's like it just makes it so much worse with the situation they're in right now. And I can't believe Alicent did it. I don't know, it was just because she's having her I don't know, like her moment, during that episode with the green tea or something like that. I
I
think
know
that
what you're
green,
trying to say.
yeah, like I don't want to say it, but like I think that's what's going on here. And I don't know what kind of drink she was drinking with that green tea, like that abortion tea. Like I can't, you know how like like you get in drugs in the hospital is like
He says it continues to affect the gut. That's
yeah, exactly. And so yeah, it's like wow, you are a bitch, bitch, a bitch to your son, who's gonna literally do the stupidest thing ever. Um, yeah, and then of course Team Black and their situation was like you could understand the frustration. It's like like Renee has to be there. Now that she came back, she knows now that she needs to step up as a leader. And yeah, I mean, as when you guys brought up, like yeah, the reason she can talk down her son is because she's the mother. Like, I mean, that's how it is. That's like my mom does it because she's right. She's the mother. She's the person of the household. So that's how it is. And I was very shocked that she eventually did tell her son about the son of fire and ice. But that makes sense because he's going to be the next king after her, right? And
Yeah,
so
he's the heir.
yeah, the heir. So that made a lot of sense, and because now she knows what she needs to do moving forward, and of course we briefly talked about um Renee, Reese, her leaving and volunteering. Very sad that she volunteered, and yeah, I agree with Dom. I mean, she's a great actress, and I mean, she definitely deserves an Emmy. I mean, like she does a good job as any actor with their eyes. Is like, oh my god, and just the way she cuddles her dragon was like, oh my god, please don't do that. It was like so cute, and the same thing. Like I don't like Aegon at all, but like it was so cute to see Aegon's dragon like do a little that like push on him, and it's like it was so like human, and it was so sad when we go to the next scene is like, ah, fuck me. Well, like this is Game of Thrones. It's just anyway. I thought these sequences were really good. And last thing is the Damien thing. Yeah, I'm very curious what's going to happen to him. Like he should not stay at all with that area. Like he's gonna have like the shiny problem. Like Jack Torrance is like he's gonna kill Renee with an axe or something like that, like a sword, when he goes back to Dragonstone, and it's like he's gonna be like Jack is a dull boy. He cannot have fun and all that. But yeah, that's my thoughts.
I don't know. I don't know.
Hey, I'm just saying it is. It's gonna be the shiny. If it's just when you have a ghost story.
Not
quite. And by the way, I'm joking, folks. I it's not gonna go there, but it's just very funny to see, like, this type of horror thing. you know.
All right, gentlemen. So I wanted to save the best part of the episode for last. So we've got quite a bit of time to go over it. So as the battle at Rook's Rest commences, Rhaenys makes her way. Meleys is killing men. Cole signals Aemon. Aemon was lying in wait with Vhagar, but Aegon and Sunfire arrive, disturbing the plan. Keeping to the plan, Cole inspires the men, telling them their king has joined the fight. Rhaenys attacks Aegon, but Sunfire burns at her. Tricking Aegon, Rhaenys comes from under Sunfire and attacks, hurtling Aegon towards the ground. As Aemon makes his approach, instead of attacking Rhaenys, he kills Aegon and Sunfire. Rhaenys, warned from the battle, decides to attack Aemon instead. Both dragons fall as they fight. As Rhaenys, I don't know why I wrote Rhaenyra. As Rhaenys makes another round, Vhagar captures Meleys's throat, and the dragon falls to the ground with Rhaenys. After nearly dying during the battle, Cole comes to hearing Sir Gawain ordering men to the breach. He tries to find the king. When he does, he sees Aemon with his sword out walking toward Sunfire. Aegon has been killed. Aemon silently walks away. Gentlemen, what are your thoughts about the final scene? Let's start with, I believe it's Dom, right?
Yeah, I'll take this one. Well, first off, Aegon's not dead. That's basically confirmed with next episode. He's not dead yet. He's very badly burned and very badly wounded, but he's not dead. As for this whole scene, I mean, just talk about emphasis on the Targaryens' connections with their dragons and the detail that's put into the dragons, and ultimately how, in a way, the dragons are the most innocent of this war, but ultimately how badly they are affected. And like, kind of, we see the pain reflected in that. And I'd love, Andres, how you pointed out, not only with RHAENYS, but with Aegon as well, cuddling in with Sunfire before they take off. It's like you really see their connection with these beasts and how gorgeous they are and how sad it is when they're unfortunately forced to fight and become these horrors of war engines. And it's like, it's absolutely insane when it's put to fold here, which is why the scene is so impactful. I wanted to point out just a couple of notes that I took just about this scene in general. Let me find it. So when Aegon flies in, right, and then he initially fights with Meleys, and Meleys obviously, is a much larger and more experienced dragon than Sunfire, so it, leaves some good claw and gash marks there. And you see Sunfire fall, and as it is flying over the army, the blood is falling down, but because the blood is super acidic because of the fire that it blows, it burns the soldiers as it flies low over them. That was just a little detail that I caught. I'm like, oh, that's actually awesome. Another note that I had is RHAENYS' multiple turns. Obviously, the thing that everybody on X has pointed out, that RHAENYS obviously had multiple times that she could have escaped, obviously, after Aemon comes in and scorches Aegon just to get to Meleys, which is hilarious. I'll get to that in a bit. But RHAENYS has multiple chances to escape, and she continuously turns back, first to fight Vhagar the first time, then to do a final sweep before they're unfortunately snatched in Vhagar's jaws and killed. I kind of saw that as it's part of her guilt for having missed her chance to end this conflict initially at the end of season 1. And she's like, okay, this is like my penance for this. She's obviously somebody who was never one to turn away from a fight. But obviously in this scenario where she kind of figures out pretty quickly that she's not getting out of it, the fact that she continues to go at it, obviously she's, strapping herself in with the harness. It's ultimately an incredible sequence. It's an absolutely incredible sequence. Obviously, when Vhagar's revealed, Vhagar's honestly kind of the secret star of the show. Like, whenever it comes on, it's like, oh shit. It's like shit's about to get real, because it's the largest dragon, obviously. I think they said that Vhagar is roughly the size of Balerion the Black Dread when that died, and that was previously the largest dragon that had ever lived. Vhagar comes in, and when Vhagar and Meleys go at it, first of all, I didn't realize that the fight was going to go down this way, because in the book, it's Correct. A lot more Meleys versus Sunfire, and Vhagar just kind of comes in to finish things off. And then that's when Sunfire and Aegon get injured. But in this instance, it's Aemon and Vhagar Aemon is like, fuck you, little brother. You're not getting in the way of this. And just burns the living shit out of him and just lets him fall to the ground. I literally laughed super hard. I had this as my last note. How hard I laughed. The look on Aegon's face when he's like, yes, my brother's here to save me, to, oh fuck, he's gonna scorch me, and then his hardcore no when he gets scorched. Oh man, I was laughing really hard during that, and I'm like, I know I'm not supposed to laugh this hard during this scene, which I know it's gonna be a tragic scene, but I mean, you kind of can't help it when you're watching shit like this. So I
have a question for you, Dom.
Yeah,
real quick. So, do you think that it was just his intention to get Aegon out of the way, or was it his intention to actually kill Aegon?
Both, either or. Not. He wasn't really thinking consciously. He was more so just thinking, attack. I can hit two birds with one stone, and nobody will question me. That's what was going through his mind ultimately. So a little bit of both is what I'll say to that. And then obviously the battle goes down the way that it goes down. Obviously the most tragic moment, another moment that everybody on X has pointed out, is that when Vhagar finally gets Meleys' neck in its jaws, and it's like, by that point it's done, because Meleys is injured at that point. It's flying roughly, one of its legs is injured. It got some good licks in on Vhagar, I'll say that much though. Like, when they said the dragons would dance, they truly did dance. Like, it was majestic, honestly, the way that it was portrayed. The fact that even though Vhagar has the size advantage, Meleys is still just as much of a good fighter, kind of with how regal and elegant it is. That's why, honestly, when you see the life go out of its eyes, that makes it even more
dramatic.
Sad.
Yeah.
That makes it even more sad. And then obviously when RHAENYS and them go down, ultimately.
Oh, the way she just fell. Yeah.
I'm like, if she doesn't, like, she better win the fucking Emmy for that. I'm gonna be extremely angry if she doesn't. I'm gonna emphasize that at least 3 more times throughout this episode. But yeah, it was awesome. It was everything I wanted and more for this entire battle sequence. It was great. I still don't put it on the level of like some of like the really, really great battle sequences that we got from Game of Thrones, because that like kind of set the template versus this one.
Yeah.
But like as far as like the usage and like kind of the imagery of it, I will say it ranks very, very high up there as overall battle sequences.
Gotcha. Andres, your thoughts?
Yeah. Oh man, this like I mean, first off, let's give a good shout out to what is it, Allison's brother, who has the worst name ever.
Gawain. Say that 10 times. You will hate it.
Graham. No, I hate it. Anyway, no, I couldn't do it. Anyway, I actually like him. He's so funny and he's actually right. Like he's actually being reasonable. Like I just he's a very funny character. I'm very curious where we're gonna take his character. I mean, I didn't see him die in the battle, so hopefully, cross my fingers, he's alive. And
No, he didn't die. Well, the part that they showed, he didn't die.
Yeah. Because I didn't see him in the preview, but anyway, yeah. So the battle was very interesting. You know, fact that Cole knows, like he knows what's going on compared to his like men, and so it's very intriguing when we got to the scene of the Rook's rest. It was like, okay, what's going on here? You know, and then of course when they did the singer, the signal for Amen, I was like, oh shit! And then you see the dragon, and it was like, oh okay, I see what we're doing, which was really great. Kudos for the special effects. I mean, these dragons look fantastic. I mean, like just like the Game of Thrones show, the dragons look so real, and yeah, like the battle did not disappoint. And like you really saw like these dragons fight one another was like crazy and brutal. I was like, oh man, yeah, I agree with Dom when Sunfire like got brutally hit in the chest and you see her, the blood. I was like, whoa, I didn't see that was gonna affect them like an acid, like acid. And that was like really like, oh my god, I feel bad for the people down there. I was like, oh dear. Yeah, and it was very funny when Eamon saw his brother coming in. It's like, idiot. It's like,
that was
what?
Great. That was like a cartoon Disney villain. Like that was such a Jafar from Aladdin moment is what that was. And that's what made it like so priceless.
Yeah, and it was what was funny. He say in his other language, and that was like, oh my god, that was funny. And like, and the Verilian language, right? And yeah, and of course when the first battle, Sunfire versus Malice was really fantastic. And yeah, like Reese dragon is very bigger and much older, kind of dragon. And it was very impressive to see that. And yeah, I will when Eamon came in, I feel like he actually did that intentionally, because remember, he felt like, I think this season is making very clear that he really wanted to be the king, because you think about it, like particularly the meeting that we saw with him and Aegon, he is way more trained and compared to his brother, and like he feels really annoyed that this like stupid, inefficient, non trained king is ruling right now, where he, who is well trained, well like disciplined soldier, right, should be on the Iron Throne. And so I think he did that intentionally to kill his brother, to like maybe take over, as king. Like, why do the backstabbing of his brother with this raid he's doing? So I feel like he did that intentionally. But then I do agree with Dom that it could be both. But for me, just my gut and my feeling is just like he did that intentionally, to maybe slowly take over, the kingdom, all that. But man, I was so sad. Like I agree. Like she was the queen that never. What was in an X? The queen that never was. Like she really fought to the end. She, despite her, like, like her troubled relationship with Renea, she always supported her towards the end. Like she did support her, at the end of season 1, and I agree with, here with Dom, that she felt, premise what she did in last season, not killing the Team Green, and and she had no choice, and she has to continue the battle, and hopefully this will inspire Team Black to be more together, maybe, but we'll see. And I was so sad when Eamon's dragon got to the neck of the dragon, and I was like, oh no. And it was before that. I like how it was very quick before he, the dragon got hurt by the neck. The dragon looked back at Renea, and that was like, they again, the connection that the writer and the dragon has. It was like, okay, like we're gonna go back, like he understood what was going to happen. And then when the neck snap happened, I was like, oh no. And he closed his eyes, and she knew that she was done. I was like, oh my god, I was so sad. She was one of my favorite characters of this season, and I was very sad that we lose her. And how the fuck Cole is still alive? Like, how could how a stupid arrow and the dragon, blood didn't got him? I was like, what the hell? And I can't believe Eamon stopped for the moment to not kill his brother because of Cole. And it's like, come on, dude. Like, Cole is not I don't know. I was just laughing, and him going down because he saw Aegon being hurt, and he's like, oh my god, what have I done? It's like, dude, you knew what you're going to do. Like, this, you were part of this. I just have another Cole. He's fucking annoying. When he's gonna die, I swear to God. Anyway, that's all I had to say. This was really, it did not disappoint. The special effects was amazing with the dragons, like the best battle I've seen in ever. I mean, I'm not a Game of Thrones fan. This is my first time seeing a big battle like this, and it did not disappoint for me.
Before Jeff starts, I do want to say a couple of things. I was going to mention the special effects as it relates to the dragons. On this particular show, I don't know if it's because in Game of Thrones they didn't focus so much on the dragons, but each time that I see a dragon, I know whose dragon it is. Like, I immediately know, oh, this is Sunfire. Oh, this is Vhagar. Oh, whichever dragon it is, I know exactly which dragon it is. And also, I don't really know if Aemon was actually going to kill Aemon once, or to stab Daemon once he hit the ground, because it looked like he was going to try to see his sword. That was just my perspective. I don't know, Jeff. What are your thoughts?
Maybe he was going to finish off the dragon.
That's true.
With the sword?
The dragon. He could have wanted to finish off the dragon, Aemon.
With the sword?
With the sword, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's possible, right, Dom? That he could have wanted to finish off the dragon. The dragon was still alive.
Sure, but maybe it's a possibility. I'm not saying it's completely out of the question. Like I said, I don't know what the intention was. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. He could have been just trying to check on Aegon.
He could have been trying to give him an honorable death. You know what I'm saying? Considering his condition, obviously, right?
It's very it's very purposeful they had Cole show up when he did.
I thought that the only thing that I'm going to say is something that nobody else touched, and that was, I really loved how they visualized Cole waking up from his unconscious state, and then him surveying the whole field and seeing the after effects of dragon warfare, right, and everything and whatnot. Going to touch that soldier and having the soldier fall apart and all that shit and whatnot, that was solid. It was dope. And then he was going to walk up there to where the king was too, like you knew he was going to, right? I thought the episode was going to end right there, but then it kept on going. Yeah, I'll stop there.
Yeah. I want to bring up, Jermaine, you brought up the dragons, how they look like extinct. I think it's just they had more time and budget to make the dragons look more distinct than the Game of Thrones. Because I don't know, I heard that George, because back then they were trying to be realistic in terms.
Well, they have more dragons. They have more dragons to work with on this show.
Yeah.
The dragons are supposed to be the focus of this.
Yeah. Well, that's true, but then also I will counter that this show is trying to be more fantasy than what Game of Thrones was. Like in the early seasons. I'm not saying like the later.
I
seasons, but-
disagree. I disagree only because the fantastical elements of Game of Thrones, as far as
like
magic,
Melisandre and all that shit.
that was more
it's-
centralized. That was more centralized to the plot than it is here. All of that stuff is still secondary here. The conflict, the main conflict of the show is more of family drama, and it makes it like more medieval. I would argue than Game of Thrones. They
don't go magic. They don't go fantastical.
The dragons are simply just a tool in this world. They are just a tool that is used. They're not like a semblance of like some greater overarching supernatural thing.
Okay, that's true. No, thank you for correcting me on that. It's just it's just the time, and all that. But no, that makes a lot of sense. With the weird verse. Again, I haven't seen I haven't seen too much of the Game of Thrones, so just bear with me.
Okay. So this is something that Jeff likes to do with all of his episodes. Let's rate this particular. Well, first, Jeff, you said that was all that you had to say. Was there more that you had to say? Because we're basically at the end.
That wasn't the end of the episode. Wasn't there more?
No, that was it. That was the last bit of the episode. Was Aegon?
That was the end of it right there.
Aemon, and Kristen Cole. Yeah, that's the end of the episode.
Oh, okay. That was the end of it right there. No, that was that.
This is a short episode.
That was all I had. Yeah, it was 56 minutes. Yeah, that's all I had.
All right, then Jeff, rate this particular episode 1 to 10.
9.5 out of 10.
Ooh, explain.
Really, it was the episode I wanted after last week's episode. It was the one I wanted, and I got it. So I mean, I'm saving my 10s for later on in the series.
You son of a bitch! You always do that.
Down.
Yeah, I'm with Jeff. 9.5 out of 10. This is great. I loved it. It was everything I wanted. I mean, it's not perfect. It takes a lot for an episode of Game of Thrones or really any show to be perfect. There's very few of them that do exist, but this is pretty high up there as far as
the discussional side stuff, the council meetings and stuff like that weren't as good as they've been in other episodes in this one.
Sure, I guess.
Andre?
Oh man, no, I had to give this a 10 out of 10, just solely because of the ending, like just solely for, like really solely for Rhys as a character, and I feel like this episode really caps who her character was in the show, and her ending just bookend everything what she was in the show and the queen that never was. So I really liked it. Plus the battle with the dragons was really cinematic, and they really deliver on that. And I agree with you guys that the cancer thing was not as engaging as the previous episodes, but it was still engaging. It was just like, okay, it was just like they're just not seeing eye to eye because of the agenda and the egos that they're having right now because of the battles and all that. But yeah, 10 out of 10.
Okay. All right. So let's go to Jeff. Jeff, why don't you plug your show, and let me present real quick.
Dom's comes right up. It's talking TV podcast.
Okay.
It's in the chat.
Jeff?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, my bad. Yo, so the MCU'S Bleeding Edge, folks. This week, we've got this Wednesday, we've got the Acolyte episode, I believe 6 to review. Andre the Pop Culture Guy is not going to be there. That's okay though. We're going to have a good show. On Friday, we're doing the Lord of the Rings, the first one. And let's see. Next Monday, we'll be back over on my side of things to do episode 5 of the House of the Dragon.
Okay, cool.
Okay, hello everyone. This is Andreas Poco, okay? Thank you so much joining us today. It was great to see you again, Dom and Jermaine. It was fun. Just recently went up to 975 subscribers. Yesterday, me and Jeff and Cyber, the first time joining my channel to review Spider-Man 2 for his 20th anniversary. Check that out. And I also post my top 10 Richard Donner films on Sunday. And just today, I recently posted the last issue of Cartoon Network Super Secret Crisis War, so check that out. And then tomorrow I will have the Spider-Man 2 movie tribute for his 20th anniversary. So thank you everyone for joining us for the House of Dragon. As Jeff said before, I'm not going to be in the Accolade episode 6. It's full of crap. It's nothing like the House of Dragon, so that's why I'm not coming. So anyway, that's why I'm not coming. But I am going to be on Friday for the Lord of the Rings because that's the shit there. See, that's quality. That's all I have to say.
Okay. All right. Dom.
Yes. Hello, everybody. Thank you for once again for having me, guys. This has been great. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, you can check it out, Talking TV on YouTube. We just recently hit 670 subscribers. Look at that. I do my own recap of House of the Dragon every Sunday. I also do a recap of The Boys every Thursday, and occasionally I put out a podcast or two as well. I'm going to be doing a June recap and an early July recap as well to kind of hit all the movies that I've been watching as well. Check it out if you guys like. We're also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well. Talking TV over there. And if you want to just follow me, it's at Movie Nerd Reviews across all platforms: X, Instagram, Snapchat. It's on everything.
Question. So you recapped The Bear.
Yeah, all of season 3.
Cliff's Notes. What were your thoughts?
I loved it. It was great. I don't understand why everybody's mad at this season. That saying it's the weakest season. I'm like, what are you people talking about? It's still the.
It was episode 1.
Right.
It was episode 1. Episode 1 just threw everybody off.
I loved it. I thought it was amazing. I was like, hell yeah, we're back in. This is awesome.
Okay. All right. I look forward to seeing your review.
All right.
All right, everyone. Thank you all so very much for joining us. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to share. All right. Have a good one.
Peace.